Yes, ma'am.
On the early morning hours of June 23rd of 2024, were you working in your capacity as a Tampa Police Department officer?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you receive a call for service that you responded to about 4:40 a.m.?
Yes, ma'am.
What was the nature of that call for service?
The initial notes that we got were vehicles circling around the parking lot of a Holiday Inn at the intersection of Fowler Ave and McKinley Drive, and additional callers revolving around told us that there were also gunshots that were also heard in the area as well.
Now, prior to your receiving that call, earlier on your shift when you had your briefing or your original meeting with the rest of the members of your unit, had you received some information about a particular musical artist coming to Tampa?
Yes, we did.
And did that information also include potential risks or of harm associated with that person coming from opposing groups?
Yes, ma'am.
With that information, did you specifically do anything?
Myself specifically, no.
Did other members of your squad do something?
Yes, ma'am. Officers Costanzo and Officer King tried to maintain surveillance on the person that was mentioned in the emails, just to keep an eye on him throughout the night.
And those are other members that also work with the Tampa Police Department?
Yes, ma'am.
By utilizing this information that you had received, what was the purpose?
It was basically just to get ahead of anything that might happen. All that we were really told was just that the victim, Mr. Jones, had, I guess, bad relationships with some other local groups as well.
Now, the information you actually did receive, did it specifically identify the individuals that Jacksonville Sheriff's Office were concerned about that were coming to Tampa opposing the victim?
Opposing the victim, not exactly. The only person I remember being specifically mentioned by name in that email was Mr. Jones.
And once that information had been received by you all, did you continue about your shift in the regular course of your duties every day that you normally would?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, once you received the call for service, did you actually respond to the Home 2 suites?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you familiar with that area?
Yes, ma'am. It was my zone for about 2 years.
And did you know where to go at the time that you had actually arrived?
Yes. Based on the information that we got in the call, I circled around behind the Home 2 suites, behind the Holiday Inn. It's just one giant parking lot that encircles the entire, I guess, complex. You have 3 different hotels in that area. And by the time I circled around to the front, which is where I ended up meeting with Sergeant Portman and Officer Godcharles, that's also where we found Mr. Jones.
Now, you described a little bit of the layout of the hotels. Did the 3 hotels shape almost a U?
Yes, ma'am.
But the parking lots themselves are all connected?
Correct.
When you actually get to the area that you see Sergeant Portman or on Mr. Jones's vehicle, did you have an opportunity to see the vehicle that Mr. Jones was in?
Yes, it was a black Dodge Charger. It was stopped in the middle of the lane of travel in the parking lot in the northeastmost corner of this parking lot, right on the intersection of McKinley and Fowler Ave.
And was that the resting place that vehicle was from the time that you arrived and then ultimately when crime scene got there to process it, et cetera?
Yes, ma'am.
Upon arrival, what observations of the vehicle itself did you make?
Multiple bullet holes going through the front windshield as well as through the body of the car. When I inspected the vehicle and even more, that's when I found Mr. Jones inside.
And were you able to, or were you tasked with doing anything at the vehicle, or did you have another assignment?
I wasn't tasked with anything specifically at the vehicle itself. Sergeant Portman initially told us to go ahead and start securing the scene. I went back to my car to get crime scene tape. Upon coming back, and I handed the tape off to another officer, I can't remember who, but that was when I noticed the blood trail going from the vehicle that Mr. Jones was found in, going to the front of the Holiday Inn.
Based on the injuries that you observed at the vehicle to Mr. Jones, or the observations you made of that vehicle, did you believe that another individual or other individuals had then made that blood trail towards or into the hotel?
Yes. From the way that Mr. Jones was positioned in the car, it looked as if he was originally seated in the front passenger seat, and during the incident, he had tried to move from the front passenger seat to the back seat. He was positioned directly over the top of the of the center console with his head facing towards the back seat, while his legs were still in the front seat, in the front passenger seat area.
As you look away from that vehicle and back towards the hotel, is that the direction at which you see the blood trail leading?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you and other officers with your department have an opportunity to follow that trail?
Yes.
Where did that lead you, at least from the vehicle to the interior of the home suites?
The blood trail initially went from the vehicle that Mr. Jones found in, through the sidewalk down the sidewalk to the north of Holiday Inn, through the front door, through the lobby, and then turned east down the first floor hallway, stopped maybe about 3 or 4 doors down, then circled back and came back to the elevator, and that's where we followed the blood trail to.
And during this time, are you also seeing blood not only on the ground but on the doors and the walls?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know whether there is still an outstanding shooter at the time that you and the other officers actually make entry into the hotel following this trail?
At that time, that was a possibility.
Did you have an opportunity yourself and with the other officers to then make your way to the 3rd floor of that hotel?
Correct.
And did you utilize the elevator to do so?
Yes, we did.
Upon exiting the elevator, what were the observations you made?
As soon as we exited the elevator and turned immediately to our right towards the main hallway, that was when we found the other 2 victims, Mr. Edwards and Mr. Norris, directly in front of us at the T-junction of the hallway.
Now, at the time you initially responded, did you actually know the identity of the individual in the vehicle or the individuals that were on the floor, Mr. Edwards and Mr. Norris, or is that information you later learned?
That was information that we confirmed later on.
And at the time that you responded, were you equipped and Officer Gail equipped with a body-worn camera?
Yes, ma'am.
Having shown the defense state's exhibit number 91, the state seeks to admit state's 91, Your Honor.
No objection?
Mr. Sonardi?
No objection.
Mr. Wise?
No objection.
Mr. Petratus?
No objection.
Be admitted.
Sir, are you able to see what's depicted in state's number 91 here?
Yes, ma'am.
And is this the observation that you made when you exited the elevator towards your right?
Correct. That's Mr. Norris laying down on the right in the black hoodie and black sweatpants. That's Mr. Edwards, and Mr. Norris is the gentleman in the white shirt and blue jeans on the left.
Okay, so allow me to clarify. The individual to the right in this state's exhibit 91 is someone that you later identified as Mr. Edwards,
Correct.
and the individual on the left was someone you later identified as Mr. Norris.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when you first make contact with these 2 individuals, what are the observations that you make about their persons?
Obviously, observed the injury to Mr. Norris's right shoulder there. Officer Gail immediately started to tend to him, placed a tourniquet on his arm.
Could you immediately tell that the injury to Mr. Norris was a gunshot wound based on your training and experience?
Based on my training, yes, and also just from the amount of blood, that's pretty typical with gunshot wounds in my experience.
And is that paired with what you saw outside of the hotel before you actually came up?
Correct.
And the injury to Mr. Edwards, if you recall?
Mr. Edwards told me that he had been shot in the upper right arm. Just based on the amount of blood, his whole right sleeve on his hoodie was completely soaked in blood. So he basically he pointed to where he had been shot. It was kind of the upper right arm, and that's where I placed the tourniquet up as high as I could into his armpit.
Could you see when you're actually placing that tourniquet how many gunshot injuries there were at that time?
I counted 3, right exactly where he pointed to them in his upper right arm.
You indicated that you applied a tourniquet. Can you just explain for the jury what that is?
Tourniquet is just a device that we use in order to stop heavy blood loss. Typically, you try to do it you try to place it as close as you can to any major arteries as you can, so you can try and stop the flow of blood so that they don't pass out or expire from blood loss.
Did you specifically apply one to Mr. Edwards as well?
Yes, ma'am.
And before actually even making these medical rescue efforts, did you search the individuals that you located on the ground, Mr. Norris and Mr. Edwards?
Yes, I did pat down Mr. Edwards for any weapons. I didn't find anything on him, and Officer Gail did the same for Mr. Norris.
And there were no weapons of any kind located?
No, not that we found.
Now, did you also stand by and attend to both of these individuals while you waited for EMS to arrive?
I was primarily focused on Mr. Edwards, while again, Officer Gail was dealing with Mr. Norris.
So you just divided up your attention. Each of you took one of the victims.
Right.
When you attempted to speak to Mr. Edwards, was there any kind of response, or was there difficulty responding? Tell me about the communication you were actually having.
I was trying to figure out, while I was trying to talk to Mr. Edwards, trying to at least keep him conscious and to try to get some more information as far as what had happened. I was able to confirm that he was the driver in the vehicle that we had found outside, that they had been shot at. But as far as who did it or any kind of description as far as who had done it, I wasn't able to get that on scene. He was periodically starting to lose consciousness while I was still trying to talk to him on scene.
What was Mr. Norris's demeanor?
Mr. Norris, I mean, he was in pain, but he was also calm when speaking with Officer Gail. The most I could overhear from his conversation with Officer Gail was that he was in the back seat of the vehicle at the time of the shooting, and he had been asleep when it occurred.
That same vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
The black Charger.
Correct.
And this is while they are excited and making these statements to you?
Yes, ma'am.
When you first got off of the elevator, was Mr. Edwards screaming?
Yes, Mr. Edwards was screaming.
When you first got off of the elevator, was Mr. Norris screaming or crying?
I believe he was crying when we got off the elevator. Yes.
Despite having applied a tourniquet to Mr. Edwards' arm, he was still losing consciousness while you were there with him?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ultimately later respond to the hospital after both victims were transported to Tampa General?
Correct.
And were you able to ascertain that there were additional injuries to Mr. Edwards, not just the 3 shots you saw?
Yes, ma'am.
And were those additional gunshot wounds?
Yes. Tampa General staff told me that there were 3 additional gunshot wounds further up on Mr. Edwards' shoulder that I couldn't see because of the hoodie.
You also had contact with Mr. Edwards at the hospital as well?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you have an opportunity during your contact with Mr. Edwards to complete a full interview with him?
Yes, ma'am.
Was he still being treated by medical staff?
Yes, he was still in the process of being treated.
And did you inquire with Mr. Edwards about his events or the events that he had been involved in for that evening?
Yes, ma'am.
Was he responsive to your questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you inquire with him about the information you had from the flyer, so the specific locations that you believed victim Charles Jones to have gone that evening?
Yes, ma'am.
And was Mr. Edwards responsive to those questions?
Yes, ma'am.
When you inquired about what actually happened at the hotel itself, was Mr. Edwards also responsive to what happened at the Home 2 Suites?
Yes, ma'am.
After the transport of Mr. Edwards and Mr. Norris to the hospital, before they were transported, were their clothing items required to be removed?
Yes, on scene, TFR personnel removed their clothing on scene.
And were you still standing by for that event?
Yes, ma'am.
After they had been transported, did those clothing items remain there at the place that you actually found Mr. Edwards and Mr. Norris?
I believe so. They did not have those items at the hospital when I spoke with them.
I'm going to show you what's already been admitted as states 4 in. That's better or worse. Can you see that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this the observation that you made when you exited the elevator to your right, absent the victims that were placed there?
That's correct.
And in 4-0, having started the process, it would appear, of crime scene going through this area, can you explain to me what that white item is at marker 14?
The white item by marker 14, that would have been the shirt that Mr. Norris would have been wearing on our first contact with him.
So each of these markers throughout the hallway, do those depict some item of evidence that would have been left behind after the victims had been transported?
I believe so, yes.
When we see in the photograph here, for example, in the center or in 4P, maybe that's a better look. These gloves, are those were those present when you actually first arrived, or were those something that you saw EMS utilizing?
Those have been used by EMS.
And in 4Q, again, the clothing items that are depicted here, were those removed while you were present with Mr. Norris and Mr. Edwards?
Yes, ma'am.
And same in 4R. Was this the black hoodie that you had previously described?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you have an opportunity to see the volume of blood when you were tending to Mr. Edwards on scene?
I was able to see a good bit of blood coming off of his right hoodie sleeve for sure. Yes, ma'am.
Was it so the hoodie itself was wet with blood?
Yes, ma'am.
And the blood that we see in these surrounding areas, also, any reason to believe it would have come from anything else other than Mr. Norris and Mr. Edwards there at that scene?
I wouldn't be able to find any other source.
Your Honor, may I have 1 moment?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness.
Okay, very good. Mr. Gonzalez, any questions?
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Sonardi?
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Wise?
There you go.
Mr. Petratus? All right, may this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you're free to go. All right, State, who's your next witness?
Officer Miguel Blazzini.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.